Member Spotlight. This week, I'm joined by Pam Mayers from the Mayers Real Estate Group. Welcome, Pam. Thank you for joining us.
I'm excited to be here. Full disclosure, Jen works with me too, so it's really kind of a fun group.
Yeah, so this is going to be a fun interview and conversational because Pam and I sit and talk all the time.
Usually at happy hours. I should have brought a bottle of wine.
Maybe, yeah. It is Friday.
Next time, yes.
So everybody knows you, but tell us a little bit about yourself, or maybe a tidbit that we don't know about Pam Mayers.
You know what? I've lived here forever. I went to Sunset Ponce and Gables High School, but I was born in Houston, Texas. But I moved here when I was 2, and actually my parents were born in Miami, and all my brothers and sisters, because I have 5 other ones, and I grew up here. So the nice thing I feel like is when all these people that are moving from out of state down, if they want to live, Miami Shores, I lived at Bay Point at one time, or the Gables, I lived in the Gables forever, or unincorporated Dade. My parents are in Ponce Davis, and I live in Pincrest. And then I just finished up being president of the Palmetto Bay Business Association. So I feel like I can really meet people's needs to what works for them.
Right, because the map of Miami-Dade County is in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
And today is 305 Day. Today is like
yes.
the Miami-Dade County Day. So happy 305 Day. So let's jump right into real estate, right? So people want to list their house and they have a limited budget. What would you recommend that they do to get their house ready to put on the market?
Okay, so what I'm going to suggest is what an appraiser told me, because in the end, it's the appraiser has to okay whatever price you sell the house for. So what is the appraiser going to look for? He is going to look for your kitchen.
Yeah.
So what can you do if you're a limited budget? You have a painting day. You invite your friends over, your girlfriends, you paint cabinets white.
You buy the beer, pizza, and wine.
That's exactly right. And you paint your cabinets white and you change the knobs on them. You can go to Home Depot. I just ordered a package for a customer
of mine. We were just
mine.
doing that at an open house 2 weeks ago.
That's right. And the knobs were not the right size. I have to find different size knobs. You measure them from the middle to the middle. But anyway, and you buy 25 knobs for $35 and you get a very modern type. Everybody likes
simple.
Yes, modern. Another thing is bathrooms. So bathrooms are important to do. And you and I are both redoing our bathrooms now. So we talk about bathrooms, but you can do it inexpensively. You can go to Home Depot, you can go to Lowe's, and there's a lot of bathroom places where you can buy cabinets. My mother was just telling me the other day, I need to change my cabinet. I'm like, Mom, it's $400. You have your handyman do it in 1 hour.
It's a cabinet and some caulk, and that's it.
That's it.
And you can buy samples at Lowe's or Home Depot or Floor and Decor. We both have dining room tables covered in tile samples right now.
Yes. And you don't have to get crazy. You can just change a cabinet. I have a funny story where, I don't know if I've told you before, I had a customer who had a gray bathroom before gray was so popular. And she was on a limited budget. And so she went to Costco and she changed her cabinet and she got a matching mirror. And it was so funny because when we went to contract, the person buying it actually wrote in that cabinet and the mirror that had to stay with contract and with the house. So like we would really take your kitchen from your bathroom because anything attached stays. But that's how much they liked it. And she spent $400, $500. She was so proud of herself. And I was glad too. It made the house sell faster. But that's what the appraiser looks like. And sometimes I meet with people and they say, I just spent $10,000 putting flowers up front. Curb appeal is great, but don't spend $10,000. No. Don't spend $5,000.
Spend a few $100s.
Yeah. Go buy a lot of mulch at Home Depot or some sod. You can buy that at Home Depot and some flowers. And put them out front. Don't make yourself crazy. Be sure and water them. But again, that has curb appeal, but do what adds value to the house. Another thing that, believe it or not, is very cheap to do is painting the inside white. And honestly, I go to look at houses all the time. They're like, I just painted the wall red again. And I'm like, what? Don't do that. So everybody, there's a lot of red walls out there. Get rid of your red wall. It's time to just paint it white.
The red kitchen.
Oh, I have it. Oh, yeah, I had a red kitchen. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was such a pretty kitchen, but it was red. Yes.
So top 3 is bathrooms, kitchens, and curb appeal.
Yes, and curb appeal. And you know what? This is really simple. Clean and empty.
And empty.
Empty goes a long way. You know what? you can go, I went to a beautiful house just now and it was around 2,200 square feet. I'm going to list it probably in the next month, but it was, everything was perfect and it was clean. And you know what? It just makes you feel good when you go in there, and clean makes a difference. Being able to see the back of the closets make a difference. Get a storage box.
Yes.
You know, you don't have to rent them forever. Just get a small storage and put stuff in there.
Especially your personal items, personal pictures. People want to picture their families in that house. They don't want to see your family in that house. I think that's another.
Or just anything dated. And I know, because I love antiques, to tell you the truth, but anything that dates, that makes you like, that was my grandmother's platter or something. Okay, you should definitely keep it, but put it in storage.
Yes.
Till you move.
So to structural, if someone has a roof problem before they list, what are their options to do with the roof?
You know, people are really going to subtract for a roof. So the question is, can you, if you want to deal with it and you can do it cheaper than they can, that's important, because somebody who goes and looks at a house, and shingle roofing is very good, but you can go through programs. There are programs like the Y Green program. There's a green initiative. The interest rates are around 8%, but you can get impact windows for the house. You can get a new roof for the house. You can get a new water heater in the house. So anything you think somebody's going to walk in and subtract a large amount from, then look at Y Green and see it. And you know what's interesting, what you can do with Y Green is they have this deal where you can not pay for anything for like 2 years. So, and I actually got my impact windows through Y Green. We were debating whether to do cash or impact windows, but I guess I split too much of the budget. We did Y Green, but when I signed in, like I think June 1st or July 1st, that was the cutoff for the taxes, because it goes into your tax amount. So for 2 years, I've had impact windows, and I haven't even paid a dime on them.
Right.
So I shouldn't say that. I think you had to pay a little bit up front, but it's a good way. If you were going to sell your house and you were going to pay for it for a year, how much value does it add to your house that somebody might subtract from? Right. Or does it make your house more sellable, faster, at a higher amount?
So speaking of value and more sellable, is a pool a deal breaker?
You know, pools are funny. When I sell to a lot of customers, they might want, if they have small children, they don't want it. But like, you're about to get a pool. Anybody who's out there pool, she'd love a bid on it. She's about to do a pool, and you have to have the space for it. But it's interesting because I don't know how much money she's going to spend, but people are probably going to spend between 30 or 40,000 putting a pool in.
Yes.
And with a patio. And that, you know, that's not like with, you know,
that's a basic pool.
That's a basic pool. But when you go buy it with a house that already has it, the appraiser gives anywhere between 10 or 20,000 to it. And if you can get a screen enclosure, which helps with the ultraviolet rays, it helps with the mosquitoes down here. I like it. Some people don't. I have one. I've had it for 30 years, but my husband told me next time it blows down in a hurricane, it's gone, Pam. You're not getting it back. But I do like them, and they're worth money. But when you're buying a house that already has it, it's discounted so much into the house. I don't really think you can. I did negotiate on a house that didn't have a pool. I said, okay, I want $20,000 because we're just going to buy a house with a pool. So they gave it to us. But my customer really didn't even want a pool. So I would tell you, when you're negotiating, hopefully you're using a realtor that negotiates for you. Even if you want a house without a pool, you never tell anybody that. No,
of course not.
You don't tell them that.
And if anybody has any questions, please, drop them in the comments, and we will answer your burning real estate questions. So if people are deciding on an area, right? There are a lot of people down here, especially in this area, are deciding between Coral Gables, Pincrest, Palmetto Bay, Cutler Bay. So what tips or suggestions would you give them when they're deciding on which area to live in?
Well, and I know all the areas very well, and so do you. I mean, you were born in Fort Lauderdale, so if somebody even wanted to go to Fort Lauderdale, we can jump up there, and I've sold up there, and you know the area well. But like in the Gables, to get an updated house in the Gables for a 2.2, it's about $750, and it's done. But that's a 2.2. You have to be happy, and the lot is probably pretty small, anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 square feet. At 12,000 is a lot. But if you go down to Pincrest, you can get a 40,000 or 40, you get an acre lot and a much bigger house, a ranch. But the question is, you're going to spend $750, $850. It's not going to be very updated.
Right.
But you get, if you have 4 dogs like me, you want I love the Gables. I'm always saying, let's sell our big house in Pinecrest and go to the Gables. My husband's like, I have to have property for the dogs. And I was just talking to somebody before I came here, and they were talking about when they Gables Palmetto Bay, you get so much more for your money. Palmetto Bay to me is one of the best deals around, because you're not paying as much as Pinecrest. You have a lot of the same schools, depending on where you live. The schools are very good.
I love living in Palmetto Bay. I
Yeah.
stumbled into Palmetto Bay, and I absolutely love living there. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
And if you're coming from up north, it's a great location. So if somebody from up north calls me and says, "Gosh, I want property," Palmetto Bay is very, very affordable, and you can have a 10,000 square foot lot with not much lawn. I just sold one for around 700,000, or you get something with a nice big yard.
Yes. So most houses are sold as is, but you still have to go through the inspection period. So what does that mean? So every customer asks that, and every customer says, it's as is, Pam. If I want the price that I'm in contract for. And of course we all want that price. What's interesting, what does it mean? It doesn't mean what it used to be. I think 10 years ago, as is was a foreclosure house. And I remember I even had a manager once, I used to use the as is contract because it was simplistic. And she used to say, stop doing it. And I ignored her because it's just a very simple contract. And why I liked it is because if you're buying a property and you put it as is contract, you have your realtor do it as is contract, you can cancel for any reason. You can say, you know what, I went by that house last night and it was just too dark, or it didn't have this, or whatever. You can cancel for any reason within your inspection period. Now, most of the contracts say 15 days, but it's negotiated on. If you're selling a house, you don't want it to drag on for 15 days. They can cancel for any reason. So it says, say 10 days is the minimum. But if you have to give time to do inspections, everybody's super busy down here. You want to do a pipe inspection if they're older pipes sometimes. You want to do a pipe inspection, which is $400. You have to get the results back. A regular inspection is $400. You pay another $200 for insurance. So you need to be organized before you go in contract. I'm going to use these inspectors. I use Zohani from Quality Inspections. He's very good. But these people are busy. So what people are going to do, you go into contract, you inspect, but let's say you find out there's something wrong with it. It has termites. Every house has termites. There's a joke, a real estate joke. Every house has termites. It's just whether you find them or not down here. So you say that's $2,000. You didn't disclose it. You didn't know you had it. Well, I want a $2,000 credit so I can have it done. Or you can ask the person living there. But of course, that's inconvenient. Most people take credits. They take it off the closing price. And they don't have to bring as much to closing as before. Or you can take it off the sales price. It just depends. If you're going to get termited, might want that $2,000 money if you don't have it, because you're going to have to termite the house. Absolutely. So as is does not mean today what it did 10 years ago. Right. Hi, George. Thank you for watching. And yes, Shenley Park is also a great area just west of the Gables. So you were talking about the realtor negotiating. And so a lot of people are out there today, people feel like they get very highly educated on the internet. And a lot of people out there are like, well, can't I just list myself?
It isn't a good idea, because the realtor is doing this every day. They're expert at what they do. You wouldn't heal yourself if you wouldn't operate on yourself. So you go to a doctor, and a good realtor will look out for you and get you what is valued. I don't think I've ever had somebody tell me, gosh, I don't want to pay you the 6% at closing. Right. But I have had some funny things where I had a customer's husband say, Pam, I didn't really think we needed a realtor, and I didn't know why we had to use you. But you know what? You did add value, because I negotiated the whole way through. You negotiate in inspections. You negotiate with the appraisal. And you have to keep things nice, because you don't know what's going to come up as a surprise on your end or the seller or buyer's end. So I think a realtor in Miami, we're a big city. It's a real world. We have a lot of different cultures, a lot of different people. You need to go with a local realtor who knows the markets, like both of us do. We're very involved in the communities. We know what's going on. If you were telling me, I love this house on 87th Avenue in Palmetto Bay, I would say, they're thinking about building a bridge right there. And that's something that a local realtor would know. It's not something they're voting on it, but they're fighting it.
Right.
And Palmetto Bay doesn't want it, but you have Dade County that does, because there's so much traffic going south now. So a local realtor can save you from making a big mistake.
A bad decision.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A financial, because remember, this is one of the biggest financial decisions you make for your family. Of course, you want to make a good one. I mean, and you know what? When you're buying a house, we're free. Yes.
Yes,
so if you're moving down here, you probably don't always know that. We don't talk about that, do we?
And that is a fantastic point.
Yes.
We absolutely need
yes.
to talk about
We
that,
are free.
It doesn't cost the buyer anything to have a realtor.
Negotiate for them,
Yep.
Yeah, it just costs the seller. And rentals are the same way. It doesn't cost you anything.
Absolutely. So we talked about the big three of getting the house ready. We talked about bathrooms, kitchens, and curb appeal. We didn't talk about staging. So how important is staging?
Staging and cleaning to me is the same thing. And I'm not going to throw a rock because I live in a glass house. I'm terrible at it. But we actually have a stager on our group, and she can come in and she can use your furniture. Or let's say I've had people I sold $2 million house once where they were getting divorced. The wife cleared everything out of the house. It was just very empty. We had a very hard time. And the husband came in and said, I'm going to pay a stager. Now there's a lot more staging companies. At that time, that was like 2 or 3 years ago. I had a really high end stager. He paid $25,000. We sold the house like 3 weeks later. It made a huge difference. It really did. So if you are at your house, I'd say, let the stager, let us come in, clean out some things and move it to a storage unit. And let my friend Martha comes in, and she's very nice. She'll use your stuff, or I have a lot of stuff of my own. I can bring that in. And sometimes I go out and I spend $400 or $500 just buying things for a house. I have no problem doing that to take care of the house, or just stage maybe one area.
Right.
I did that in Cutler Bay recently. The person just said, I don't like any of my living room things. So she got rid of everything. And we brought in plants, we brought in fake plants, we brought in a lot of things, couches. I have a truck. I have a Suburban.
We all have SUVs.
Yeah.
that are usually full of stuff on a constant basis.
Oh my gosh. So yes, I think staging is very big. I really do.
So let me ask you a couple of questions about rentals, because I think there's people have a lot of questions about that out there. So is it better to go month or to get a lease when you're renting?
So when you come down here to rent, there's a lot of things to take into consideration. If you decide, I had somebody who was interested in the Segovia house we have a great rental in Segovia. That's huge.
Where is that?
Duplex.
Where is that?
2805 Segovia Street in Coral Gables. It's
right in the heart of the Gables, right off Miracle Mile.
Right off.
Fantastic location.
Right between the Coral Gables Youth Center, the Coral Gables Library, and very close to the Biltmore. You can walk to Miracle Mile. Great location, 3,200 square feet. And it's a rental, but somebody wanted to rent it 7 months. So they didn't want to do a short-term rental. But what is a short-term rental in Miami? You have to charge taxes if it's so. That's why most realtors say, if I find you anything, it'll be 7 months. Mm-hmm. But nobody really wants to do 7 months. They want to do a year. So the question is, after the year you're in a lease, do you want to stay in that lease? Well, it depends if you have a fixed price. I was just talking to a friend of mine who has a commercial property, and she was debating whether to go month to month, but she was renting at like 2/3 of what they were renting now. I'm like, it's to your advantage if she'll rent at this price to do another lease, because then they're in contract. But if you are somebody, if I'm working with a homeowner, I think it's better for him to do month to month. It's easier to get people out if they don't pay you.
Right.
And if you want to raise it, you can say, okay, in 30 days, I'm raising it. That just happened to my daughter. She was going month to month, and the guy raised the raise. Boom. You have to do it. And I think when you own property, you have a lot more freedoms, and it's easier to get people out if there's a problem. But if you're renting and you want your cost to be fixed, then you're better off with a contract.
Right. And then in rental situation, do you have to admit that you have pets?
You do. And some people like them, some people don't. I mean, I have 4 dogs and 1 cat. Some people are cat people. Some people are dog people.
You still have that kitty cat?
I have a front door cat. We call it. No, the 3-legged cat somebody else took.
Gotcha.
But we have a 4-legged cat on our front door cat and paws. And if we move, we always are thinking about that. If we sell our house, where we go, it'd be hard to find a rental for 4 dogs and a cat.
Yeah.
And you have to think about that. Now you can do it 2 ways. You can do a deposit, refundable deposit or non-refundable. So that's something you ask. And sometimes it's like $250. If it's $250 or $350 or even $1,000 refundable, that's very fair.
Absolutely.
Now, if it's $1,000 non-refundable, then some people might think twice. Do I want that? But you need to. There's no sneaking dogs in or getting a dog once you get in there, because owners just don't like that.
No.
Better always to be upfront
Right.
than to surprise people when you're selling a house about anything or even with rentals.
So in the case of pets, it's better to ask permission than for forgiveness, because you'll
because then they probably
out on the street with your pet.
If you're right. They could kick you out of contract. You've broken the contract. And
right.
Over what, $250, $350, and they got mad and they say no, then it goes to your mother.
So our current market, right? We're right now, it's a total seller's market. So if you were thinking about selling your house, now's the time. Right.
And I met with some people today and we looked at comps, and the thing is, the market's just going up so quickly. So you kind of have to anticipate that. But you can see how things are closing. But you still have to have value. You can't just say, oh, I'm selling, a 2-bedroom for $900,000. Well, why? Tell me why. Do you have impact doors? Do you have a new roof? Is the neighborhood great? I mean, how big is a lot? I just got killed on a house that was a 10,000 square foot lot. I actually sold 2 houses with 10,000 square foot lots in Palmetto Bay instead of 15. And one appraiser took off like $50,000.
Yeah.
That was horrible. I threw a fit. And but there wasn't a lot I could do about it. The next appraiser, I think, took off more like $4,000 or $5,000 for every 1,000 square feet. But I still thought that was a lot. And so that, again, what you have to remember when you're financing, your bank is going to take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
They care about them more than you. So they're going to appraise that house, and it's going to have the value. And what if it doesn't have the value? You can renegotiate the house if the seller will let you, but it's a seller's market. Why should he let you? So what really is happening now, I actually had a house in Cutler Bay, which was a really nice house. And the appraiser was from, the mortgage person was from Tampa. He picked some mortgage guy. It was ridiculous price. I had just sold a house 3 doors down for I think it was $535, and they appraised the house for $490, and we were selling the house for $550. It was ridiculous. And I went back to the realtor and said, listen, your customer needs to come out of pocket. Do you want to keep on looking? You're not going to find a better house, a better neighborhood. It was a dead-end street. The house had a new roof. It had a pool. It was a cool house. It was a famous designer architect. Mm-hmm. And their person came out of pocket. So when you're buying, you kind of need to, I have to say that in the Miami market, take that in consideration. Don't cut your margin so low that, so tight. Yeah. And if you're selling it and you're taking a contract where somebody's only putting 5% down, they're not having the cash to come up with any problems that might arise with closing. So you always want to find out from the mortgage person that the person's buying the house, that they have some money in the account for unforeseen things like that, like the appraisal.
Right. So, we always talk about relationship building with clients and customers. So what would you recommend people to look for when they're looking for a real estate agent?
I think you need to go with somebody who doesn't tell you, be quiet, I know what's best for you. You don't want that. You want somebody to say, oh, is a pool important? Great. We'll look for pool homes. Oh, how about school systems? Is that important? Or who brings up questions to you that maybe you hadn't thought of? Yes. Who's putting your needs first. And I think our group is really good at that, because we're going to be your neighbors. You live right there in Palmetto Bay. I live in Pincrest. Molly is in Palmetto Bay too. So we have to live with you, and we will see you, and we will take care of you. I have people call me.
We're going to run into you at Publix.
Yeah, we're going to see you at Publix. And it's important that we make you happy. Because you know how our business grows is on referrals.
Absolutely.
And there is nothing greater than somebody. I just got a referral from somebody I think I sold like 4 years ago. And I was so excited. Even though it was a rental, I was so happy. And I was glad she thought of me. And I'm happy to have rentals. We're both happy to have rentals. And we work with all price ranges too. A lot of realtors say I only do high end. If you're investing, I have a 2.2 right now condo for $125,000. Great for an investor right now. So we'll work with you and help you grow your financial security, because that's really what real estate is.
I think one of the things you talk about, and I hear you talk about, is you have repeat customers, and you'll have a customer that buys a house with you every year. You know,
yes,
they add
my favorite customers.
Your favorite customers, of
right.
course, and they add to their investment portfolios. You know, in the Mayers group, we have over how many years of experience altogether? 37 years.
Yeah, 37 years. Yes.
You know, we're all local realtors, and we're here to help local customers, and you know, that's what and Pam and I are both very involved in the business associations, and that's what we're here. We're local realtors helping local buyers and local sellers. So when you're ready to buy or sell, please think of us, give us a call. Or
we'll meet you at a happy hour place, and we can just talk and meet you that way
come
too.
to our Wine Down Wednesdays.
Yes.
We're at Pig Floyd or Smokes, whatever you'd like to call it, every Wednesday from 5 to 7. And it's a very low key. We're just there to answer your real estate questions or to sit down and have a glass of wine and chat. So, you know, come and join us one Wednesday. We're also, if you see the Pincrest
Yes.
25th anniversary, the Village of Pincrest. We are in page 2. We have our ad, so you can see
Grant,
us there.
Yay.
Thank you, Grant Miller. Thank you again to the Miller brothers for always hosting us. We're very happy of your generosity with the Pincrest Business Association. And thank you, Pam, for joining me today.
Yes, it was great. And you can call us, even if you don't want to buy a house in the next year, call us and we will get you connected with people, the mortgage people and inspection people, and just maybe people you just want to talk to, a contractor. We can connect you, and we have no problem working with you a year in advance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you again for watching. Thank you guys for hosting us, and we will see you next week.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.